I'm Olivia, and I'm from New York. And I recently watched Chasing Corals on Netflix about the coral reefs and how they're disappearing around the world.
So,
So mine's about architecture and food insecurity. So, uh, okay. Last year, I became interested in food insecurity in Brooklyn for a design project at school. And as I was researching, I realized that climate change poses a considerable threat to global food security with potentially existential economic, political, and social outcomes for humanity that I didn't realize before this. And since I live in an urban environment, I started researching ways to help with food gaps, especially obviously in New York. And Brooklyn is a really big example of this. After researching a lot of models, I built a restaurant and shopping grocery store combined that would have a rooftop garden. So not only would the rooftop garden be used to feed like customers as a yearly experience, but it would be a way for communities to gather and learn about the environment, because I think that we all have the same common goal of education, since it's really important in order to mobilize the youth. We really need to start young and with educating them. So I thought that with this roof garden, not only is it just kind of a fun thing to do, it could engage young kids so that they can learn more about the environment, and there could be just just getting the community together. So this is kind of examples in New York City. They actually passed a law, and so I forget the exact um, things, but like certain companies will actually need to have green roofs because they need like a nicer landscape. Because they realized because New York is such a metropolis, they needed like green on the roofs. So here's an example. And this is actually like a small SketchUp model that I kind of put together of someone's actually this is someone's like roof from like an architecture model in my apartment. Like someone has a balcony that kind of looks like this, and
Oh.
so it could be like you could rearrange it to have like gardening and things like that, which would be kind of, I don't have the model that I made at school since it's still at school obviously. And so my action plan is learning more actions I can take within my community to become more involved, like community gardening and volunteer work. It doesn't have to be just with food insecurity, but also waste management and pollution, water pollution, and things like that. Researching eco-friendly building materials is also a really important thing. We have the new school, which has a whole branch with eco-friendly materials that I visited, since that is definitely the future. And of course, asking advice from you guys, because this is a pop movement. It's all about everyone working together. If you've seen something similar to this in your neighborhoods, what you do, just things all around the world, since we're across continents, which is really interesting. And so don't really know much about the other countries. And getting in touch with people who are interested in this intersectionality between climate change and food waste, and a little bit of architecture as well. And that's it.